Welcome to the Daily Radio Bible for Kids. The day is December 14th. My name is Hunter, and we are reading through the Bible. Every day, kids from all around the world gather here to listen to these amazing passages from the Bible, from Genesis all the way to the book of Revelation. Today's reading is in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verses 1 through 16. Then we finish our reading in Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. Well, people can show that they have faith in God by what they do and how they act. Read about ways that some of the characters from the Old Testament showed their trust in God, from Hebrews chapter 11. Faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. Through their faith, the people in the days of old earned a good reputation. By faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command, that what we now see did not come from anything that can be seen. It was by faith that Abel brought a more acceptable offering to God than Cain did. Abel's offering gave evidence that he was a righteous man, and God showed his approval of his gifts. Although Abel is long dead, he still speaks to us by his example of faith. It was by faith that Enoch was taken up to heaven without dying. He disappeared because God took him. For before he was taken up, he was known as a person who pleased God, and it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that God exists and that he rewards those who sincerely seek him. It was by faith that Noah built a large boat to save his family from the flood. He obeyed God, who warned him about things that had never happened before. By his faith, Noah condemned the rest of the world, and he received the righteousness that comes by faith. It was by faith that Abraham obeyed when God called him to leave home and go to another land that God would give him as his inheritance. He went without knowing where he was going, and even when he reached the land God promised him, he lived there by faith. For he was like a foreigner living in tents, and so did Isaac and Jacob, who inherited the same promise. Abraham was confidently looking forward to a city with eternal foundations, a city designed and built by God. It was by faith that even Sarah was able to have a child, though she was barren and was too old. She believed that God would keep his promise, and so a whole nation came from this one man who was as good as dead, a nation with so many people that, like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore, there's no way to count them. All these people died still believing what God had promised them. They did not receive what was promised, but they saw it all from a distance and welcomed it. They agreed that they were foreigners and nomads here on earth. Obviously, people who say such things are looking forward to a country they can call their own. If they had longed for the country they came from, they could have gone back. But they were looking for a better place, a heavenly homeland. That is why God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. Wow, I love this passage. Faith is trusting God to keep his promise even when you can't see what's happening or where it's going to happen. The people whose lives are discussed in this passage trusted God even when they didn't know how or when his promises would come true. But God didn't fail any of them. He always does what he says he'll do. Do you ever have a hard time believing God? Remember the way these people trusted him and follow their example. This is what Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6 says. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Well, there you have it. We've done it again. We have spent another day in the Bible. And what a day this is. Man, I love this passage. I hope you're encouraged by our time in the Word each day. I plan on being back here again tomorrow to do the same thing. I hope you join me. Until that time, you go forward in God's joy. You let his joy be your strength. And you remember this. You ready? You remember that you are loved. No doubt about it. All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. You guys take care. Bye-bye.